For my analysis, I use a sustainability indicator of percent of universities' average waste that is disposed in a solid waste landfill or incinerator. I compared this across 10 universities, including Ohio State. I tried to use data that came exclusively from universities in the Big Ten Conference. Unfortunately, every school did not have data, so I compared Ohio State to 8 schools in the Big Ten Conference, and then I included Ohio University for the 9th school to be compared. I used the percent of waste instead of weight in tons so that the universities could be compared fairly. This is important because it shows the impact universities have on landfills, which are tremendously unsustainable waste management practices. It shows their efforts in reducing waste that goes to landfills by reflecting their recycling, composting, and reusing of waste efforts. The waste was quantified on the AASHE STARS website in tons. The site provided quantitative data for 4 categories. 1, recycled, the second was composted, the third was reused, and then the fourth was sent to a landfill or incinerator. It collected data from 2 different sets. One was a baseline year that data was collected, and then one was a performance year. These years were usually a couple years apart that the data was collected from. I entered this all into an Excel file from the 2 years and from the 4 categories, and then I was able to use the 2 years to calculate an average for waste in each of the 4 categories of recycled, composted, reused, and then sent to a landfill. With these averages in tons, I could then divide the average waste materials disposed in a solid waste landfill or incinerator by the total waste that I calculated from adding up all of the 4 measures. I then got this percentage, and I included it in this bar graph here where you can see all 10 universities are compared. From left to right, Indiana University had a percentage of 70% of their total waste disposed in the solid waste landfill or incinerator. Michigan State University had 39%, Northwestern University had 68%, Ohio State University had 69%, Ohio University had 48%, Penn State University had 51%, University of Michigan had 72%, University of Illinois had 69%, University of Minnesota had 64%, and then the University of Nebraska had 51%. So out of all of these, the lowest percent of waste that was sent to solid waste landfill or incinerators was from Michigan State University at the 39%, and then the highest was in very close quarters the University of Michigan, who had 72% of their waste sent to solid waste landfills or incinerators. Ohio State was not far off from that 72% with a 69% of waste that's sent. And then there was only 2 universities that were under 50%, and that was Michigan State University with 39%, and then Ohio University with 48%. 4 universities averaged around the 50% or below it, and then the rest of them were all above the 60%. So this definitely reflects a lot more that the universities can be doing to keep their waste out of solid waste landfills or incinerators and increasing their efforts in recycling, composting, and reusing of their waste. I liked that I was able to do the percents because a lot of schools are very different in size scale. So to compare just the tons would not be fair because different schools have different amounts of people and they're generating a lot more waste depending on their population. So this percent lets you look at just how much of their total waste is being sent to landfills or an incinerator. And unfortunately for Ohio State, they were tied for 3rd place with the University of Illinois for the highest percentage of waste that is sent. Michigan State University is doing great things with their waste management. It looks like they are recycling, composting, and reusing a lot of their materials, more than 50% of them. So that is all, and as we can see, there's still a lot more that Ohio State can do, but at least we are still beating University of Michigan.